Welcome to Aggieland.
Yes, yeah,
Getting
excited.
settled in, and tell us about, with the transfer portal the way it is, how you've been able to kind of assemble this year's team.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of exciting news, and we got some great talent that kind of transferred in. We were able to get some pitching help. Julia Cottrell is somebody that's going to help us behind the dish and obviously give us some, provide us with some power. Bree Evans is another one that I think is going to be huge. But we were able to sprinkle in kind of some support in some areas that I thought we were a little deficient depth-wise. So really excited about our returning players, to be honest with you, and also excited, to kind of bring in, merge those kind of two worlds. But yeah, we were pretty successful this summer, I feel like, in the portal. So.
Awesome. As a fall practice, new coach taking over, how's that different than other years, and what are you looking to get out of this fall?
Yeah, I mean, I think this year is like us implementing our system, right? Like how we do things, why we do things. There's a lot of coaching going on, so their brains are a little bit in overload right now, but that's what the fall's about. So it's really about establishing our kind of our program, our system, how we do things, and just, how we're going to play the game. We're going to play the game aggressive, we're going to be gritty, we're going to, have tenacity, we're going to fight. I mean, our programs have always typically, you don't ever feel comfortable until the last out. And so that's just, part of this process and this transition is getting these players to kind of understand what that looks like, feels like, and that comes every day in practice. It doesn't just show up on game day. So there's a lot of a learning curve right now. I'm getting to know the players and obviously them getting to know us, but excited. I mean, what a beautiful day today. I mean, the good Lord had us in the plans. We've had some rain the last couple of weeks, so today it feels good to be out here. So just, excited to get on the field and spend 3 hours with the team.
Coach, I know you mentioned merging the two worlds of the transfer portal and the returning players together. Yeah. So what have the early returns been like through that process? And I know you also mentioned you're excited about some of the returners. Who are the names that you're really excited to see in your system?
Yeah, gosh, there's kind of, to answer the beginning of your question, I think like the merging of the two, I think really it's been being able to get them out in some group work, and we've been able to do some larger groups, and we've had some team meetings, and kind of, I think really it's them getting comfortable with me and kind of like how I am. I'm a little spicy, I'm going to talk a little trash to them out on the field. So getting them used to that, because sometimes they're like what's going on here? And I'm like, hey, I want you to talk that back to me. Like, let's get after it a little bit. So we're going to compete every day in practice, and I think that's something that they're going to have to get used to. We're going to jive at each other, the pitchers, the hitters. We're going to talk back and forth, and that's what makes this fun. So I think just getting to know our personalities has been really the biggest thing of kind of meshing those two worlds. And then your second question about the returners, gosh, there's a lot, to be honest with you. Getting some players that weren't healthy last year are going to be huge. I think Bree Warren, you talk about a talent. I think some of her exit velos right now are above 80. I mean, she's mashing the ball, so it's just kind of getting some pieces put together. Trinity Cannon, I mean, I could go on and on. Rylan, Coco, Emily Kennedy, left-handed throwing 70, like sign me up. So I think there's a lot of great pieces, which is one of the things that really brought me here. Is that I think that there's things that I could bring to the table along with those that are already here existing that could really make this place special.
Kind of following up on that, is there anything about the returning players, or just when you were kind of assessing the program before you took the job, and now you get a little bit more familiarity with them that jumps out to you?
Just their they talk about it, but you always hear athletes say, like, we just want to be coached, like, and you hear that, and I'm like, do you really want to be coached? And this group really wants to be coached. They've been just super inviting, super engaged, loving kind of all of the things that we're bringing out to practice. And usually you don't get that to 18 to 22-year-olds. They're kind of like, they say it sometimes, and then they're like, okay, yeah, I'm good, I don't really mean it. And they've been just tremendous. So I think it speaks of the character and the type of athletes that Coach Evans obviously recruited here.
So some things you don't have control over. Now, what about size of roster? Here, some coaches say, I want a small number. Some coaches want a large number. It's tough to keep players on the field because the transfer portal they're going to go. Seems like you got a large roster right now, or is that where are you at? Maybe that's my size conceptually? Where do you want to be at?
Yeah, I think that 20 to 22 range is a very happy medium. 22, you can travel and suit out and actually participate in obviously conference and postseason. So I think that number is pretty nice. I do think it makes it hard when you get much larger than that. And then obviously from a depth perception, if you get lower than that, it makes things a little tricky. So you'll have pitchers in the outfield and, those types of things. So we want to avoid that. So I think, where we're at, I feel really good, that 20 to 22 range. I like kind of where we're at, and you're absolutely right. Like you don't want to have too much. You can't keep everybody happy, and I do think we have some versatility here. We might have some defensive specialists, we might have base runners, so some of those things that they would be able to come and contribute into the game. And when I was at Fresno, we had what I called the special teams, and we had 3 kids that all they did was base run, but they took a lot of pride in it, and they won us some ball games. And I think when you put some value in that, you can really get some buy-in there.
Can you talk about it? I'm sorry.
I know it's early, but what differences are you seeing from maybe the Pac-12 to the SEC?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing hasn't really been on the softball field. I feel like softball is softball, but I think the support, obviously going to my first midnight yell, Jeff took me to the cadets and that whole experience, the pageantry behind game day, I think has been tremendous. I think, the other thing, we went to our first SEC head coaches meeting this week, and seeing the video room and just all of the investment that this conference makes in our sport, I think to me is just tremendous. And you really don't understand it until you see it, you live it, you breathe it. So, I think that's the biggest thing. I think competing is competing. Softball is softball, and so we'll kind of keep those pieces the same. But I think just kind of where we value softball at this institution it speaks highly to me.
You talk about your coaching staff that you assembled.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Russ Heffley, he's our volunteer. He was with me at ASU. He kind of helps. He's our jack of all trades. So he'll help from an outfield standpoint, catching, and then assist Coach Harger in hitting. He is originally from Central California, so like the Hanford area. Coach Harger is my hitting coach. He was with me at Fresno, then ASU, and then here. If you follow him at all, we've had top 5 offensive programs every year that he's been a part of with me. So I kind of make him go wherever I go, he goes. It's we're a package deal. And then Joe Guthrie, he was the head coach at UAB. He's our defensive specialist, so he'll deal primarily with our defense and our base running. So I think it speaks volumes to have somebody who's been a head coach before, so he kind of understands the nuances of being a head coach and being able to run a program, but also obviously now I've taken some things off of his plate and he gets to deal with just defense. So that's kind of our on the field staff. We have Hunter Veach, who is our director of player development, so he'll deal with all of our analytical side. So we'll deal with a lot of our Yacker Tech, our hit tracks, all of that data, and kind of help put practices together. And then we have Jay Fatty, who is our director of player program development, so he'll do a lot of our video and analysis and those types of things. So pretty excited. We have a wide range of expertise, but that's what I feel like that's what my job is, right? Get people in here that kind of fill some of the buckets that I'm not as good at.
Seemed on the outside looking in, maybe you relied on the home run a lot for your previous stuff. I know that maybe that had something to do with the Pac-12, but do you change your style that you're here or not? Or was that,
Yeah, I am who I am. That's kind of my DNA. We're going to play, tough. We're going to play gritty. We're going to fight. We're going to punch, and we're going to bang the ball. That's something that is it's kind of part of our philosophy. So when we get in the box, we want to do damage, and so we don't go in there to touch the ball. We look to hit line drives over the wall. So we'll say to the wall, over the wall. So we don't want to touch the ball. So we're gonna, keep that up.
I know I asked you about returning players, but those transfer portal kids, the ones that are coming in, who are some of the names that Aggie fans are going to get acquainted with in a hurry?
Yeah, so I mentioned a couple of them. Julia Cottrell, I think, will be one. She because of transfer rules, will be able to play in the spring, but not during the fall, so we won't see her there. Bree Evans is another one that will play. We're going to kind of figure out if she's going to play infield or outfield. We have a lot of versatility with her. Emily Levitt and Madison Preston will be 2 arms. One will be a lefty down baller, and Levitt is more of up, and she's a righty. We have Allie Enright. She's an outfielder that transferred in from U of A. So she'll provide us some depth out there. We have 2 freshmen that kind of followed me from ASU, Riley Valentine and Grayson Coleman. They are both very versatile, which is why I recruited them at ASU, and so they can play some corner positions. So I think you're going to get acquainted with quite a few of them, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. So, but I think overall we have a lot of depth. We have a lot of ability to kind of adapt and adjust, and so I think we're going to do it.
So I spent a summer in Scottsdale before with 122-degree heat.
Yes, yeah.
So tell me, what's the difference between, not as much humidity there,
Yes.
what's the difference between the weather there and here?
Well, I was teasing everybody. We saw more rain here in like 6 days than I felt like I had seen in about 6 years. So, which is good. We get a little green here. So, just hard when you're an outside sport. So, I think, yeah, I mean, the heat is the heat. Heat doesn't bother me. The humidity, you got to get used to that. But overall, like, we're here to play ball, so let's play ball. So, but yeah, hot is hot, cold is cold. We still got to be able to throw strikes and, hit the ball hard.
I know you spoke a lot about this place and this facility as one of the reasons you were attracted to Texas A&M. So now that it is officially home, what is it about Davis Diamond and College Station that you really appreciate?
Yeah, I mean, where do I begin? I think, just the feel of College Station, I think, is the thing that attracts me the most. And I think Jimbo said it in his press conference this week. Obviously, a tough game, against App State, a couple weeks ago. And we bounced back and have a sellout crowd, against Miami this last week. And I feel like, I don't know that what else kind of signifies what College Station and what Aggieland is about is that, and obviously we got a big win this past weekend, and I think that's what College Station to me is about. Is it's not so much about like, their fans, but it's really a family atmosphere. And I think, one of the things that I talk a lot about is kind of our bedside manner. Do you have good bedside manner or not? And what I mean by that is I don't ever want to feel like a number out of place, and I never want one of my players to feel like a number. And I feel like this is a very unique and special place that makes you feel like you're part of something with all the traditions and, just, I don't know, how we take care of each other here. So I think that piece is big. Obviously, somebody has to pinch me every day that I get to sit up in my office and look over this field. Everybody, I just, like I said, went to SEC meetings and they're like, oh, Texas A&M, best facility in the country. Like that, there it is. I mean, it's just a fact. And I think, you have all the support here. Obviously have a beautiful diamond. And then I think, obviously getting to know some of our donors and being able to interact with the community. I do have 2 kids, so I've been able to get in there a little bit. And I think that's been the best part, honestly, is just the people.
I cover it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome.
Thanks, you guys.
Welcome.